Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. You know how much we love to dig into the details, and we love planes. So today we're going deep on one specific World War II aircraft,
Okay.
the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt.
Okay.
But not just any Thunderbolt.
Right.
This one was known as Passionate Patsy, and that name alone,
Yeah.
hints at a story that goes beyond just nuts and bolts and rivets.
Definitely. When you think about the thousands upon thousands of aircraft that were produced and flown in World War II, it's easy to sort of lose sight of the individual stories, But every single one of those machines has a history. And when we narrow our focus down to a specific aircraft like Passionate Patsy, what we find are really compelling human stories that are kind of interwoven with the technological history.
Absolutely. And we've got a ton of material here on aviation history in general.
Yeah.
But our mission today is very specific. We're going beyond just the mechanics of this particular plane. We want to understand the pilot who flew it,
Yeah.
the squadron it was a part of, and ultimately what made Passionate Patsy resonate. Beyond just being, a really well-built machine,
Right.
what turned it into a legend.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So let's get into it. Where should we even begin with this one?
Well, I think the best place to start is with the individual who's most closely associated with Passionate Patsy's fame, and that's Major Walker Bud Mahurin.
Okay.
And even today, his name carries a lot of weight in aviation circles.
It does, and all of our research points to Bud Mahurin being an exceptional pilot.
Yes.
It's like truly one of the most accomplished American fighter pilots of the entire war. And his passion for flying, it seems like it started really early on.
Yeah.
Growing up in Michigan. Like this wasn't just a, hazing fancy.
Right.
It was a real deep-seated love for aviation. And when he joined the U.S. Army Air Forces, he had a very clear purpose.
Absolutely. And it's fascinating because, he wasn't just enthusiastic about flying, he was incredibly skilled.
Yeah.
And, from everything that we've read, incredibly fearless in the air.
Wow.
And that combination of drive and just raw ability, it's a pretty potent asset in a fighter pilot.
I bet. And here's a fact that really kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Mahurin was actually the very first American pilot in the European theater to achieve ace status while flying the P-47 Thunderbolt.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty significant.
That's huge. I mean, earning the title of ace, which, as you know, means shooting down 5 or more enemy aircraft, that in and of itself is a testament to a pilot's, exceptional skill and bravery.
Sure.
But to be the first to do so in a major theater of war flying a specific aircraft
Right.
really solidifies his place in aviation history.
Absolutely.
And his final tally of 20.75 confirmed aerial victories
Oh, wow.
really underscores just how effective he was.
Yeah. And I always love that .75 because
Yes.
you know what that means, right? It's that
Work
shared.
kill. Yeah.
It's a team effort.
Yeah, it's a collaborative thing.
Yeah. But going beyond just the numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of the sources we looked at described him as having tactical brilliance
Yeah.
and this unyielding spirit. So it sounds like he wasn't just a good stick and rudder guy. He was really a thinking,
Yeah.
formidable opponent in the air. What exactly made his tactics so brilliant?
That's a great question. It wasn't just about instinct.
Yeah.
Or, just raw reflexes. He was known for his ability to actually anticipate enemy movements.
Really?
And then to formulate and execute strategies in the middle of a dogfight,
Oh, wow.
which is incredible. And oftentimes, he would put himself in a
Yeah.
position of advantage because of that. But what's really interesting is that he also understood not just the individual maneuvers of a dogfight,
Yeah.
but also like the bigger picture, the flow of an aerial battle.
Oh, wow.
So he was thinking strategically, multiple levels up.
Okay, so he's not just good, he's also smart.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a scary combination.
It is. And the other thing that really comes across in the research is his leadership and his understanding of how each pilot's actions contributed to the success of the overall mission.
But that's teamwork.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we've got this really gifted pilot who's also a strategic thinker.
Yes.
But he wasn't alone up there,
No,
right? Passionate Patsy belonged to the 63rd Fighter Squadron.
that's right.
So what can you tell us about that unit?
Well, the 63rd was a part of the 56th Fighter Group.
Okay.
And the 56th, they were really a force to be reckoned with. They had the nickname Zemke's Wolfpack.
Zemke's Wolfpack.
Zemke's Wolfpack.
That's such a cool name. And it kind of tells you everything you need to know
Yeah.
about how they approached air combat.
It does. It suggests this very, aggressive and very effective approach.
Yeah. And Colonel Hubert Zemke, who led them,
Yeah.
He must have been a pretty
Yeah.
big influence on their reputation.
Absolutely. I mean, his leadership is widely credited with transforming the 56th into this dominant force that they became. He actually pioneered a number of advanced air combat tactics,
Uh-oh.
which really boosted their effectiveness. And their role in helping to achieve air superiority over Europe was absolutely critical.
So if they were achieving air superiority, what does that actually mean in practice?
It meant that the Allies could then conduct bombing raids
Oh, okay.
and other operations with a significantly reduced risk of being intercepted by enemy fighters.
So they're protecting the bombers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're the ones clearing the skies so the bombers can get through.
Okay. So the 63rd Fighter Squadron, as part of this wolf pack,
Yes.
what kinds of missions were they typically flying over Europe?
So their primary role, as we've kind of touched on, was bomber escort,
Okay.
protecting those larger, more vulnerable aircraft from enemy fighter attacks.
Mm-hmm.
But they were also called upon quite frequently to do ground attack missions,
Okay.
which meant targeting enemy infrastructure troop concentrations, things like that.
Yeah.
And the pilots of the 63rd, much like the rest of the 56th, they gained a reputation for aggressive flying.
Oh, wow.
And really being able to adapt
Yeah.
to the constantly evolving challenges of air warfare.
So not just good pilots, but also able to change plans on the fly.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. You're up there in the air.
Yeah.
Things are happening so quickly.
Sure.
You have to be able to think on your feet and adjust to the situation.
That takes a lot of skill.
It does. And a certain amount of, just raw nerve.
So we've got these highly skilled and incredibly determined aviators.
Yes.
Operating under, immense pressure.
Yeah.
Extremely dangerous conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about this really cool name, Passionate Patsy.
Yeah.
Where did that name even come from?
That's a great question. And as far as we can tell, based on the information available, it seems like it came from a combination of personal sentiment
Okay.
and just kind of a wartime tradition.
Okay.
Pilots and ground crews during the war frequently named their aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was done as a way to boost morale
Sure.
and really foster a sense of, personal connection
Right.
with what is essentially their partner in the air.
Right.
You're putting your life in this machine's hands. So it makes sense that you'd want to imbue it with something more than just,
Yeah.
its serial number.
It's a good point. And giving an aircraft a name, it definitely makes it feel
Yeah.
less like this, cold, impersonal hunk of metal
Right.
and more like a trusted comrade almost.
Yeah, almost like a member of the team.
Right.
In its own way.
And Passionate Patsy, that's such a, powerful
Yeah.
and evocative name.
Yeah, it is.
And the research suggests that it was probably inspired by someone significant in Mahurin's life.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a loved one back home.
Yeah. I mean, that was a very common practice
Yeah.
back then, to name your aircraft after
Right.
a sweetheart or a wife or a daughter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very human thing to do, especially in a time of conflict,
Absolutely.
to kind of cling to those personal connections
Yeah.
and find ways to keep them close.
And the word passionate,
Yeah,
it really speaks to like intensity and,
it does. It evokes a sense of, fervor and dedication and, kind of unwavering commitment. And those are all qualities that we see in Mahurin as a
Yeah.
pilot.
I wonder, were there other kinds of names that pilots often chose?
Oh, yeah, there were a lot of different themes.
Okay.
Some would choose names for good luck.
Okay.
Others would name them after, a funny event or something that happened,
Oh.
that they found humorous. Some were named after, their hometowns
Oh, wow.
or states. So, yeah, it was really widespread.
It's cool.
And it added this really human touch
Yeah.
to the, machinery of war.
Absolutely. So it seems like Passionate Patsy, the name itself, did more than just identify a specific P-47.
Right.
It transformed this aircraft into a symbol
Yeah.
of hope and determination.
Hmm.
And that really important link back home to
Absolutely.
loved ones.
It gave it a personality, almost a narrative before it even took to the skies for the first time.
And then under Mahurin's command, that identity became even more intertwined with his growing reputation.
Exactly. They became this kind of legendary duo.
Yeah. They must have been a formidable presence. Passionate Patsy with Mahurin at the controls
Oh, yeah.
over the skies of Europe. In fact, a lot of our sources describe them as being an unstoppable duo.
Mm-hmm.
And they highlight the combination of the P-47's ruggedness
Right.
and Mahurin's obviously exceptional skill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the P-47 was known for being incredibly tough.
Yeah. What made it so tough?
Well, it was partly due to its engine,
Yep.
the Pratt& Whitney R2800 double wasp radial engine,
Okay.
which was air-cooled, and those radial engines were known for being able to take a lot of punishment, much more so than the liquid-cooled inline engines that some other fighters use.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, it had a really sturdy airframe
Yeah.
and 8 50 caliber machine guns,
Wow.
which, provided both resilience and a lot of firepower.
So it could take a hit, and it could also give a hit.
Exactly. It could absorb a lot of battle damage
Yeah.
and still bring its pilot home.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That makes all their successes, even more impressive.
It does.
Our sources detail, Mahurin's many aerial victories
Yeah.
and all the successful missions flown in Passionate Patsy, and all of that contributing significantly
Yeah.
to the Allied war effort.
Absolutely. They were a very effective team
Yeah.
and played a crucial role in securing that air superiority that we were talking about.
It's an incredible story of, triumph in the air,
Yeah.
but we also know that war is full of, harsh realities.
Right.
And unfortunately, our research shows that there was a pretty big interruption
Yeah.
in Mahurin's combat career when he was shot down and taken prisoner.
Yeah, that was a pivotal moment in his story.
Yeah.
But even as a POW, his resilience and determination
Yeah.
never wavered,
Wow.
which really says a lot about his character.
It does.
And his story, his time flying in Passionate Patsy, it continued to inspire future generations of aviators.
It really shows that Passionate Patsy wasn't just another P-47 Thunderbolt off the assembly line.
Right.
It became a powerful symbol of courage, dedication, and even the ingenuity
Yeah.
that went into creating these machines.
Absolutely. I think it's a powerful reminder that behind every piece of technology,
Yeah.
every machine, there's a human story,
Yeah.
And those stories are often just as important
I'd
as
say
the
so.
machines themselves.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the story of Passionate Patsy, it's really striking how much it highlights the human element within these incredible fleets of engineering.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about what the aircraft could do.
Right.
It was about the spirit and the skill
Absolutely.
of the man who flew it.
And the symbolism that it came to represent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about, all the other machines throughout history, not just aircraft, but, that have similar stories attached to them.
Yeah.
Maybe untold, but these personal narratives that are woven into their function and how they were used.
It's a good point.
For those of you listening who are interested in learning more about the P-47 Thunderbolt itself,
Yeah.
all the technical specs and the details of how it was engineered,
Yeah.
we've got a more detailed examination over on our channel.
Absolutely.
And we also have deep dives into other iconic aircraft from World War II.
Yeah, like the P-40 and the T-51.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you want to continue exploring aviation history, check those out.
Definitely. I think it's really interesting to see how all these different aircraft
Yeah.
fit into the bigger picture,
Absolutely.
and understanding the capabilities and limitations of each one
Yeah.
really gives you greater appreciation for the pilots who flew them.
So here's a thought to leave you with.
Okay.
What other seemingly inanimate objects throughout history carried these powerful, often unseen stories
Yeah.
of human endeavor, resilience, and emotion?